everyone, welcome to Watch It Paint It. In this video I'm going to try and do a sort of standalone technical video on how to paint weathered and aged bronze. Now this is a kit that came with Asset Drop. It came in February 2018 and this is a guide they give you telling you a sort of tutorial, written tutorial on how to do it. So I'm going to make a video tutorial following along with their steps. You can see in this little pamphlet you get how to paint aged bronze and weathered bronze, and that's what I'm gonna follow along step-by-step method and see if I can show you how to do it and see how well the guide works and how I get on with it. So first of all, I'm going to start with showing you what I'm going to use, and that's a file to begin with. The guide recommends some sandpaper, but I just had a file to hand. Next, you need to prime it, base it in black. So just any black paint that you've got will do. Try not to make it glossy, make sure it's matte. And then this is a paint from Dark Star. It's their Molten Metals range, Blackened Bronze, and that came in February's box. Then I'm going to need Dark Star again. Molten Metals, this is their bronze, so that'll be the next paint we're going to need. And then next is Secret Weapons, and this is their Sewer Water Wash. Again, it came in this Asset Drop box. And then Secret Weapon again, this is the Green-Black Wash. And then finally, again, Secret Weapon, and this is some pigment, Faded Blue, to sort of weather the bronze. So I'll leave some links in the description below to let you get these products and Asset Drop if you're interested in that. Anyway, I'll show you how to use it. So we're going to start off with, I'm going to use a Goblin Warrior from Massive Darkness, just showing you the model here, unprimed, and try and show you where I've sort of used that file where you could use a little bit of sandpaper, roughened up the flat edges of the bronze that I'm going to be painting as per the instructions, the tutorial. Then I've gone and primed it. This is using Army Painter's Colour Primer, Necrotic Flesh, and that's sitting on top. And then I come back after I've done all the other painting. We've just got the bronze left to do. That'll be the shield, the helmet, the two swords, and he's got a bit of sort of chainmail around his neck. And I'm just showing you here that I'm going to use that black. Army Painter's dead black, but I think any black, as long as it's sort of matte, will do perfectly well as a primer. I guess maybe even like a glossy matte's not going to really matter. You're going to be painting over it and it's going to be metallic, so it's going to be glossy anyway. So I was just using the regiment brush, semi-watered down, sort of 10-20% water in this paint, and just getting it nice and flowing, and then just regiment brush all the big areas. Then I'm going down to my detail brush just around the edges and all the fine detail, because I've painted the rest of the model behind, so I don't want to get this black anywhere I don't need it. Next, I'm going to take that Blackened Bronze by Dark Star, and this is watered down as per the instructions, about 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 drops of paint to 1 drop of water. You can see it's quite runny. You can see I've got quite a lot on that shield. I'm going to be moving that around rather than just wiping it all off to begin with, so you won't see me reaching for much more paint. Now I'm just going to be spreading this very, very carefully. I don't want to get any of this metallic paint on any of the previously painted miniature. Obviously, if you're doing this, you may or may not do it first anyway. It's just that I made this video so that if you're interested in seeing the whole video of this model, that will also be on the channel. So I'll leave a link in the description below to that. So I'm just running around and doing that, what I could with the regiment brush, then the finer points with the detail brush there, just making sure I've covered all the black. But it is quite watered down and I don't mind some of that black showing through. It'll make the metal look a lot better, a lot more sort of tarnished straight away. So the tutorial covered 3 ways of applying this. This is the normal way, that step 1 potentially. You could also be dry brushing this on, or finally you could use the sponge they provided. That would give a more textured, weathered look. It explains it all in the tutorial, so that's quite cool. I picked one of the ways, the most common way. After that's dried, after the Blackened Bronze is dried completely, we're going to use Dark Star's normal bronze, and we're going to be dry brushing that on. So I'm dipping my paintbrush in that paint, I'm basically trying to just use one side of my dry brush here. So this is a dry brush. I'll put a link to the dry brush in the description below as well. That's by Quickdraw Supplies. It's a Pro Arty brush. And so I'll dip it into the paint and then rub most of it off on that kitchen paper that you can see I'm getting a little bit more paint, scraping as much off as I can, so it's basically got no paint left, but there is some paint. And then I'm scraping that along all the edges, well, all the flat surfaces as well, following the instructions, following the tutorial, and just brightening up the flat edges of all the bronzy bits as well as the actual edges as well. So the flat surfaces, sorry, I should say, and the edges. Next, we're going to use Secret Weapons sewer water. And this is a brown, green, glossy wash, so it's going to dry quite glossy, which is great on a metallic. It's going to make it look a little bit shiny. I'm moving this paint around, trying to get it in all the recesses, but I'm also painting it across the flat panels, the flat surfaces, his shield and down his blades as well. I'll be doing that. And you'll start to notice the damage, the roughing up we did with the file or sandpaper is going to allow that wash to sit on the flat surfaces. Now we do want to make sure it doesn't pool anywhere on the flat surfaces. We just want it to sort of make it look a little bit dingy, dull it down a little bit, but not pool. We don't want any big blobs of darkness. And then I'm going to use a detail brush to sort of apply some pinpoint darkening, some pinpoint wash in various places where I want it to just pool a little bit more. So that's around the hilt of his sword and his dagger, and he's got some cracks in his sword. Well, I guess they're not cracks, there's some chunks missing of his sword, so I just want to darken them down as well. Then I'm just going to go around that chainmail and make sure it's gone in all the recesses, because I really do want to make this wash sit in those recesses and really make the chainmail pop out a little bit better. I'm also just going to paint around with spikes on his shield to make those gather a bit of sort of water, a bit of weathering around the bottom of each of those spikes. So just taking a little bit of time to make sure that wash is applied everywhere I want it to. I'm going to take a quick second here to show you how the model's looking now. Nice and brassy. So you could stop at this point. It's brassy, but it's really, really weathered, really, really dingy, this one. It certainly looks very, very old. So if you were happy there, you could stop there. I'm going to progress, show you what else you can do, follow along with the tutorial some more. And they next recommend that you dry brush again using that bronze. Now I'm going to dry brush a lot lighter this time. I don't want to bring it up quite as shiny, and I want to bring out the shine in more specific areas. So this time, sort of the front of his sword is going to get more, the top of his sword will get a little bit more. One side of his dagger, the side you can sort of see is going to get more dry brushing. Now I'll probably dry brush all the sides a little bit just to bring in some element of it still being a little bit shiny, because you know he's using his sword. This is an active goblin warrior, so he's around. He polishes his sword a little bit, but it's an old sword nevertheless. Had I been painting a skeleton, perhaps something undead, a zombie, something that hasn't taken care of its weaponry quite as well, it certainly wouldn't be getting shined up now, let's say. So well, this is up to you to shine it back up as much as you'd like, but I'm certainly leaving all the recesses with plenty of that wash in. I'm going to use my detail brush just to do around his face. It's quite tricky, and just to add a bit of bronze directly on the tips of all of those spikes and down the sides, a bit of edge highlighting on the blade. And with that now complete, this is my finished Goblin Warrior. As I mentioned, I'll put a link in the description below if you'd like to see the whole thing be painted, but I just wanted to demonstrate in this video how I did the bronze. I'll also show you a couple more models that I did, just as practice, just as a run-up to doing this one. This is a miniature that I got in my model box this month, and I just thought, I can have some bronze armour and a bronze axe. Let's see how I get on. Again, I think that looks absolutely fantastic. Both these models, the metals truly do look like metals. They do look like a great interpretation of bronze. I'm very, very impressed with these Dark Star paints, actually. Especially, it's hard for me to say that, as I don't like bronze. I love metallics, absolutely love metallics, but I just dislike bronze. What is bronze? It's like this, it's not gold, right? But what is it? So I want to show you some more weathering techniques. So I've taken a random shield that I had from some Warhammer kit. I don't even play Warhammer, so I don't even know why I've got this. Showing you again that I've roughed it up a little bit, taken the file to the flat panels just to allow some of the wash to settle later on. I've then coated it, primed it in black, and then I've done the base coat in that blackened bronze, just as per the previous steps that I've just shown you. And then we'll get back to just showing you some, so you can see how I did the dry brushing again, but it's just the same as before. But I know that how I'm going to use this sword. I'm going to use it on a base. I'm going to stick it down a specific way. So I'm going to make sure I dry brush from left to right here, as the light will be coming from the left side of this model, and I don't mind the right side just being generally a little bit darker. I'm just going to catch the top edges as well though, so get a bit of edge highlighting using the dry brush. Next we're going to wash it as I did previously, but this time we're going to use the green black wash by Secret Weapon, and this is very, very similar to that sewer wash. This doesn't dry shiny though, it's not glossy at the end. However, because it's black and green, it's just so much grimier, dingier, and that's what the tutorial, Acid Drops tutorial, recommends, and it definitely does as they say. So this is after it's dried. It's certainly looking older, darker. The contrast's higher as well. I actually just prefer this as a whole for being a tabletop gamer. I like the contrast to be a little bit higher so I can see stuff pop. We're going to use the pigment supplied by well, in the asset drop, but supplied by Secret Weapon. And this is the blue faded blue. And I'm just going to show you how to mix it. Asset drop recommends about 2 drops of the powder. That's quite hard to do with a brush, but I'm roughly getting 2 dollops of this, and then 1 dollop of water, which again is difficult to measure, but I think by using a brush, I've basically done a 2-to-1 ratio here. And to be honest, you can just mix it by eye. Once it becomes a sort of wash, like it has done here, this might even be a little bit thick, but once it's a wash, you've got what you want. So just to make it liquidy and work it in to where you'd like it. So I'm going to sit it around the edges of the raised part of the shield, as though where the water would build up, really. Imagine this has been left out on the battlefield. It's been rained upon, rain settled, it's oxidized, and it's the corrosion set in like this. So I'm just going to go along all those edges of all the raised bits of the edge of the shield. There's also some rivets along the raised part, so I'm just going to get a little dab on those bits as well, really taking my time with this, using my detail brush, making sure it's going exactly where I want it, just very, very carefully along those edging. I'm also going to get some in it's a bit broken, a bit cracked, smashed along the bottom as well, so I'll make sure some go into the damage there, because I think that would corrode as well. I'm just showing you how it looks after I finish that, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. That looks like aged bronze, right? That looks like a shield that's been left out on the battlefield for God knows how long. But the tutorial was a piece of cake to follow. I think that's really aimed at beginners. It's step by step, tell you exactly what you need to know. I didn't have any problems following it. I thought it was really clear. I've enjoyed following the tutorial, and it's allowed me to try something I wouldn't normally try. And here I'm just showing both the model in the background that I painted with the weathered bronze look, with the aged bronze look, and then I've applied that shield. I've glued a skeleton arm down to the base, holding that shield. I don't know if he was a skeleton that he fought and he died on the battlefield and his shield's corroded, it's now weathered away, or if he died that long ago that he's turned to a skeleton. It's pretty grim. I'll try not to think about it too much, but I just wanted to show you both aging bronze and weathered bronze, and hopefully you can see that both on this model contrasting together, so you can see the effect you might be trying to get by the end result. So thanks to Asset Drops for supplying a very nice tutorial. I thought that was very easy to follow, step by step. I didn't find anything confusing, so big thumbs up to their tutorial. Hope you enjoyed the video version of it. Do let me know in the comments below, and also let me know if you'd like to see some more video tutorials of Asset Drops guides. Thank you all very much for watching.